So we are starting the training for today, and we're going to wait for a few people to jump on this. So we'll start back up in about 2 minutes. Morning, Enosh.
Morning, Fred. How you doing, brother?
Good. We'll start in about 1 or 2 minutes when we get some more people on, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay. Hang tight. Morning, Mike.
Good morning.
Hang tight. 1 or 2 more minutes. We'll get started.
What's up, Mike?
What's up, buddy?
How you doing?
Hey, Don, go take a shower, bro.
Go take a shower? Why a shower?
Did you already take one? Nice.
What?
It's always good to start the day with a shower, Don. Freshen up.
Oh, absolutely.
Clean up the beard, man. Let's make it happen.
What do you mean? I cleaned it up.
Oh, you did?
I look fresh. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's just, you know.
I'm just envious. I'm envious of the males that can have a beard because I can't. So that's the truth of the matter.
No worry.
So we'll give it like 1 or 2 more minutes and we'll get started. Valerie's on. Hang tight. Hold on. Okay, let's get started. So you guys can unmute yourself and let's just get started with some Q&A, some quick Q&A before we get started. Cool?
Cool.
So let me share my screen. Okay, so any questions off the bat in regards to, we're still talking about listings, right? I'm just going to take one piece of today's listing and I'm gonna dig deeper in it. I'm gonna show you what I do to get ready for it. Okay. So any questions off the bat about listings at all in any capacity, or should I just get started?
Get started, brother.
Get it going.
Okay, cool. So you guys see listing presentation here. You go on the right. So I'm gonna go through the only one I'm gonna talk about. Remember, the most critical, setting it up, going on the appointment, preparing for the appointment, all that is great. Taking the listing is obviously super important. The last thing that you guys want to do is take an overpriced listing in any market. In a hot market like today, you could get lucky because there's less inventory and high demand, and some buyers are paying 20, 30, 40 grand above list price. Whether it appraises it or not, that's a different story. But rule of thumb is it's better not to take a listing than take an overpriced listing. So it's critical in general that we have to agree. So you watch this next part. Hold on. Remember, overview. Step 4 of the listing presentation for us is the CMA and our 3 pricing strategies, right? In order to do that, though, you have to have your comps, your CMA ready to go. You have to already know within about a 20, if it's a property that's under $750,000, you want to have a comfortable general market value without even looking at it within about 25 grand. Once you get above 750, $1 million, $1.2 million, you want to know within 50 or 75 grand. But comfortably, you want to know what it's worth when you get in there. And depending on the location, depending on the upgrades, it could shift slightly. Okay. Go ahead and mute yourself, whoever that is as well, so it's not in the recording. So based on the CMA, what's your value? We go from there. So what I want to talk about today is the actual CMA. So preparing for CMA and the value conversation at the listing presentation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I got my MLS up, and I'm going to just take a listing that I already took a few weeks ago. It's going on the market in the next 2 weeks, I believe. I'm going to use that as an example. So let's say I booked the appointment, everything's set, done my pre-call script, know what I'm going into. The first thing I do, if I can right away, just to get it out of the way, is I'm going to comp the property and I'm going to get ready. So this is what I do. So I already know the address that we're going to talk about today is 15 Orange Blossom, Ladera Ranch. So I'll literally go in the MLS. We all have the same MLS, so it's all the same matrix system. So whatever I'm doing right now is going to apply to everybody on this call in LA and OC. So what I like to do is I want to just go ahead and I want to find the recent comp or recent property, right? So I know that there's a couple Orange Blossoms, Irvine and Ladera Ranch, but I want to go Ladera Ranch. So the most recent Ladera Ranch one, let me segment by date. So, oh yeah, recent there. So I know that they leased this property back in for $3,100 back in the recent date change was April 25th, 2010. So I just want to pull this property up. Okay. And if it's not in this section, remember the MLS electronically came into effect in 1997. So the fact that it came into effect in 1997, I can hear you, but I not see you. Okay, Valerie, I don't know why you can't see us. So,
Right.
Robert, mute yourself, Robert. Robert. Hold on. There we go. Cool.
Right.
Oh, what I was saying was
you can mute that person. I just muted him.
Oh, nice. Perfect. So, long story short, if you can put the address that you're going on a listing appointment in this speed bar right here, and there's information that pops up like it did over here, that means has been in the MLS since after 1997, because that's when electronically MLS came into effect. If it's not in here, that means it's never been listed on the MLS after 1997. So you got to go up here, pull up the realist report, and search it that way. But since it's here, I'm going to click on this. And by clicking this button, as you guys know, the realist report pops up. So I just want to get an idea of who this person is. I know that it verified that the person I talked to was James Kim. I got his information. I want to get an idea what the tax records say, not the MLS, but the tax records say for this, because it's really it depends on what the tax records say. Before, he listed it at 2,035 square feet when he leased it. And if he has any proof that it's actually 2,035 square feet, I got a basic comps on that. I've already verified that per the floor plans, the builder, it is 2,035 square feet. So I'm going to use that number. And I want to just get a general idea of who I'm dealing with. As far as mortgage history goes, I know they bought this property in 2004 for $569,000. I know the same date, the mortgage history, when they bought this home for $569,000, they got a loan for $455,000 of it. So the remaining balance between $569,000 and $455,000 they put as a down payment. Looks like they refied again in 2005 and got probably a second home equity line of credit. It looks like in 2006 they refied the home equity line and they got that one instead. So from what I can tell without even talking to him, he's got a first and a second on the property for a $455,000 and a $147,000. And I know obviously 10 years later, 11 years later, it's probably less of a balance than that, which it is. I think he has two loans on it and they're like literally combined at like $425,000 or $430,000 when I talk to him. Anyway, I want to get that idea. So once I have that, I go here. So since I already have a copy of the MLS, the floor plan, etc., I'm going to go ahead as always. This is how I comp properties. I'll press print. I want to do an agent full report. I'll print a PDF. I'm not actually going to print it. I just want the property stats on my page so when I'm comping it, I know what I'm doing. So the one thing I'm going to do is now I'm going to start comping this property so I'm prepared. So always go active, active in a contract, pending, closed. I always do a map search when it comes to comping properties. So I'll type the address 15, it's already here. It'll bring it up. So the cool part already is I actually used to live in this community when I first got married, so I already know it pretty well. Just works out that way. So that's where the property is. So Ladera Ranch is obviously a very big area in South Orange County. And this property is in the branches. Okay, that's the tract name. And I already know the branches, luckily, because I used to live, that's the property. I lived on that house right there back in 2007 and 8. So I know already it's a condo community because the real estate report tells me so. And this is the entire tract of the branches. So if you have an idea, great. But remember, when you comp condos, it's different than comping single family homes. Condos are usually in a one block type of geographic area. Single family homes, we usually do a more wide radius when it comes to comping. But condos, you can literally have this as one condo complex, this is one condo complex. And you do want to do your best when you comp properties to find properties in the actual HOA or condo complex, not condos across the street or 4 different ones, because values usually differ. So I do my usual polygon search. I'll go here. I'll go here because I already know that it ends right about there. And built in, when you press the close system, it goes 180 days, which is 6 months, which is fine. So just for the heck of it, I didn't put any stats in there. I didn't do anything. I'm going to just press results. And then as you can see, there's already a handful in Orange Blossom. This one's pretty easy to comp. That's why I wanted to use this as an example. The one thing you want to know, I'll break it down further. I already know 15 Orange Blossom. There's 2 floor plans in this community because I've looked at it. There's a 2 levels and then there's a tri-level condos. Got to realize if you have to, you can use them as comps, yet a 3-level condo versus a 2-level condo are completely different in value. So I'm going to go down here. I know 37 Orange Blossom. I probably won't use this as a comp because it's a short sale and it's way off. What I already know, let me expand this a little further, is we can go to this one, and this one's probably a 3-level, 89 Orange Blossom. It sold on January 28th this year for $535. Already it's a 3-level. And I already kind of know that the 3 levels sell slightly less than the 2 levels. 2 levels are more desirable. I'll still bring it as a comp though, okay? And then 10 Orange Blossom was a 2-level, sold for $536. When did that sell? That sold November 23rd, 2016. Let me just look at the pictures because I can tell you if it's the same floor plan or not. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, front door. This looks to be a similar floor plan. It's not the same one. It's actually slightly bigger. It looks like the same one. I can't tell. Either way, I'm going to bring this comp. And the last one is 14 Orange Blossom. Remember, the one that I'm going to is 15 Orange Blossoms. This is the one across the way. This one closed on March 13th, 2017, which was like 30 days ago. And I already know that this is a model match. Exact same home. I've already been there. I know it's the same thing. This one, just so you know, slightly better cosmetically. So, I mean, I already knew this going into it before I've even seen the property because I asked the right questions when it comes to pre-listing appointment as far as the pre-qual script goes. So I got an idea. The one thing the owner told me was they already knew about this comp. We talked about it because I already looked it up, and he said, you know what, Fred, this is on the other side. The difference between me and this person is that I'm actually on a green belt. So my patio over here is a green belt. This one isn't. So I said, okay, if this closed at 610 grand, cosmetically they're different.
I'll still eat one.
Enosh, mute. If this one's different, because it doesn't have a green belt, but cosmetically it's better, it's safe to say that me going into it, their home is probably somewhere in the 6 to 620 mark. I know I could probably get over 600. I just don't see how we can get, you know, 15, 20, 30, 40 grand more. Because I know he told me over the phone I'd love to get 630 or 640. So I kind of felt him out on his price. Once again, that's part of the pre-qual script because it says, at what price are you planning on listing and selling your home? And he told me 630 or 640. So going into it is he's kind of on the higher side. And my job is when I meet with him in a listing appointment is to bring him to more of a realistic number. So then what I do is I go ahead and I'll check all these. I won't check that one. And then there's a couple things I do. So when I prep the comps, by the way, there's nothing active right now. It's a very slim inventory. If I had a couple actives and a couple on escrow, I would bring those as well, but this is all I'm going to bring. So I will press print on this. I'll press quick CMA. So this is the one thing that I bring. Okay, this is the one-page CMA that we discuss. What's also important that you want to bring is the following. If there is any 1, 2, or 3 of these properties that are as closely resemblant as possible, you want to bring that one individually. So I already know I'm going to go ahead and bring this one because it's literally a model match and the price is pretty comparative to what he wants. So I'll press print, but when I press print, this is what I do. I press agent full and then I press roll out as well, because when I do that, that button, it not only prints the agent full report, it will also print all the photos that come along with it. Because when we're discussing, hey, this one sold for 610, I got a better location, so mine should easily be worth 630, 640, Fred. I say, you know what, that makes sense because you have a great location on the Greenbelt, which is amazing. Yet look at how much better this is cosmetically than yours. So I'll literally bring the color photos or black and white worst case and show him the difference. Because we got to build a case on getting him to list at a price that we want him to list at. So I will print these 5 pages, bring them with me. I will print this CMA, and I will bring it with me. And then this is the section of when I pull out the comps in the listing presentation. Hold on. This is what I have in front of me. So I have this in front of me, this in front of me. I pull out of my folder, okay? And then we discuss, based off the CMA, what's your value? Now let's stop here. Now that I have the tools that I need to be able to have a conversation, this is how the conversation is supposed to go. So what I go ahead and do is I pull out the CMA sheet and I tell him, hey, his name is Jimmy. I say, hey, Jimmy, at this point, let's discuss what your neighborhood's been doing. Let's talk about price. So CMA stands for comparative market analysis. I did the same thing at the listing I took yesterday morning, by the way. So same process. So we go over this and I explain to him, these are the 3 properties that have sold in the past 4 to 6 months in the branches. And I break them further. He already said, oh, this is probably a 3-level. It's definitely not worth 5. I said, you're right. It's a 3-level property. It sold back in January. It sold for $535, a little on the lower side, right? So obviously we got to bring that because it's still comp that a buyer's going to see online. Then we looked at this one, said it was a 2-level, sold for $536. I told him, hey, it took 158 days to sell. They started too high, etc. And then we brought up the one that he already knew about, which was his across the street neighbor, and I said 610. I said, really, Jimmy, this is the only standing chance that we have to get anything above $600,000, which is our most recent, which is a great comp, by the way. March 13th, 2017, just closed 30 days ago. Sold at 610, and it's your exact same model match. Automatically, he said, you know what? That's great. I got a better location. I think I can get 630, 635. He just straight said that. Actually, well, let's see. Let's see what that property looked like. Because he hasn't seen it. He lives up north, and this property I'm selling for him is an investment property. So he didn't physically walk through. So I told him, hey, Jimmy, look at this property, right? It's unbelievable condition. Kitchen's phenomenal, flooring's phenomenal, paint is great, shows extremely well. And me and you both know your home has been a rental property. The same tenants lived there for 8 years and they got 2 dogs. So we got to justify some stuff. So based off that, I gave him this number. And I said, realistically, because my goal is this, guys, watch. Going through this, I'm not trying to tell him what his home was worth at that time. All I want to get him to do is buy in with me for the sake of our strategy conversation, A, B, and C. We have to agree on a general market value. And I said, Jimmy, listen, I'm not going to hold you to it, but based off the CMA, let's come to an agreement just for the sake of our conversation moving forward on our strategies we talked about. What is your property worth? And he said, obviously no less than 600. I'm 100% in agreement with you. I said, right now, realistically, I just want to give a $20,000 range. I don't want to give us a $40,000 range. And I don't want to say, hey, your home is worth $640 or $650. Because I'll tell you right now, in a heartbeat, your home is not going to sell for $650,000. I mean, I was that confident, and I am. You should be as well, given the comps, if you have enough data to go by. Okay. And I said, hey, it could go for 610, 615, 620. It just depends on if somebody really, really wants your location and your greenbelt versus somebody's property who was beautiful and gorgeous but did not have the greenbelt. So I said it's up to the market at the end of the day, which we've talked about. So for the sake of the conversation, we just use a 610, 615-ish number, right? 610, 620. And I said, okay, great. Based off the general market value that we agree on, you have 3 options to price your home. And then from here, I went into test the market. And I said, hey, Jimmy, with this property, with our agreed market value, you can price the market, price it 5 or 8% above. Testing the market means you're generally going to overprice the home, even though technology buyers, common sense know if we put it at a test the market price, they're all going to know it's overpriced. We may get lucky, get somebody close, yet more than likely in today's marketplace, it's not a good move. I gave him an example. I said, for your property in this market, if we think 610 or 615 is the general market value, we're probably going to price the home right around 650, 649, 660, something in the mid sixes. Then what we talked about was at the market. At the market is priced at agreed market value. So what I told him is I said, hey, if we're thinking 610, 615, 620, we could literally go anywhere from a 599 to a 610, 615, or 620. I said, because I always tell people this, and this is true, I like to price our properties within 25,000 increments because that's dominantly the search portals that are searched. So if you're going to go like a 6 or a 610 or 615, I'd rather go a 599 or go up to a 619 or a 620 or 625. I don't like a 610, 615 number unless he wants to. What I've already told them is the top that I would price it at in this market is I would literally go probably no more than a 619.9 and maybe a 624.9. I don't recommend it, and I've been pushing them since. So that's our conversation, because you have to have a comfortable max when it comes to at market, guys, or test the market. You just want to have a general comfortable max that you just don't want to list the property above, and you may not take the listing because of it. So as you do more and more appointments and get more and more listings, you'll understand your comfort zone and what you will and will not take. So I told him preferably 599 to about a 615 is where you want to list a property at market. And I told him as well, 2/3 of our clients are choosing that strategy right now. And the last thing is, and this is true, 21 to 28 days of active days in the market. So that's 21 or 28 days of active showing time. If you get all these showings and you get no offers, it's price, location, or condition. Location, we can't pick up the home and put it in any better location than it is. Number 2, condition, we're not going to go in there and drop 10, 15, 20, 30 grand to rehab the property. So the only thing we have control over to adjust and change so we can get an offer is price. After 21, no earlier than 21, no later than 28 days, if we've got 30, 40, 50 showings, all these buyers, no offers, we have to reduce the price. And just so you guys know, a general price reduction at minimum is 3%, probably no more than 5%. So I'll tell Jimmy, hey, if we price it at 614, 599, 610, 620, we do not get a offer after 28 days, the minimum you're going to reduce is 3 to 4%. So if he's at a 619 or 620, I'm going to tell him you got to drop it to a 599. If he's at a 599, you're probably going to have to drop it to like a 575 or 585. So we have this dialogue. Then we go create the market, which you guys have heard of. Price 5 to 8% under agreed market value. 33% of buyers choosing that today's market. Here's a few case studies. So basically, I already gave him a price. So generally, where I would list your home at with this strategy, given the comps, I'd probably do a 549, Jimmy. And obviously, he kind of gasped and said, well, that's giving the property away. I said, hold on a second. Watch what we're talking about here. It's not just about price. We're doing it because we know we can gauge more than that. Let me tell you why. And then I go into case study after case study after case study. And then he gets the concept of it after the case studies. He understands what days we list them. He understands how we market the properties. He understands how many people we get at open houses. He understands the offers are due at Mondays at 7 p.m. deadline. He gets all that. And depending on the listing, guys, this is what I've been doing lately. If I'm listing a home and it's going to the market in the next week, week and a half, depending on our conversation at the presentation, we're having them agree to what strategy and price they'd like to do. What I've realized over the past 3-4 months is I'm pushing this presentation a lot more is, generally speaking, we take a listing on average that's going on the market for about 2 weeks after we take the listing. So we got some time. The last 5 or 6 listings that I took in the past 45 days, I left the price blank when I took the listing, which is completely legal, by the way, because I got them to actually think about this. I got them to think about, hey, obviously nobody's told me test the market, and they're contemplating between B and C. And it's good that they can think about price. They're going to go pray about it, talk to their spouse about it, talk to their business partner about it. If there's a trust involved, they got to talk to the trustees about it. Like the one yesterday I took in Woodbridge, in Irvine, the general market value is probably like literally, it's hit or miss. It's about $1.1 million. But we have some caveats because it's a trust sale. The owner passed away in the home from natural causes 3 weeks ago. And it's originally a 3-bedroom on the lake, but they turned 2 bedrooms upstairs into a huge master, so it's only a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath now, and somebody passed away. So they got some things they got to think about. There's some X factors with that house. So I said, hey, I told them at the market yesterday, I told them, hey, it's probably $1.1 million, so you can go worst case $1,149,000, but I prefer $1,099,000 for an at market. Create the market somewhere close to $999,000. I told him on his property. So they're thinking about it. They'll let me know in the next 2 or 3 days. And that's going on the market in 2 weeks. This Ladera one that we're talking about in question on 15 Orange Blossom, I took it 2 weeks ago, yet I knew it wasn't going on the market for 30 days later, which is in about 2 weeks from now. So they still haven't told me what price they want, which is completely okay. But I'm causing them to digest on this more and more, which I'm completely okay with. And sometimes some of the aggressive sellers, like, I love create the market. No, I hate create market. They give me a price right then and there, and we put it in the listing documents, which is completely okay. Main thing though is you got to spend a lot of time educating them on price, getting the strategy in place, building the foundation of the pricing for the market, letting them think about it if they want. But you're still walking out with a signed listing agreement, and then within a day or 2 or 3 or a week or 2 or 3, the price filled in. And I tell them I need the price of the home no later than 48 to 72 hours prior to going live on the MLS. That's it. You have that much time, we can talk about it. You can run numbers. I'm completely open to it. At the end of the day, it's your call, as long as it's within the range that we've discussed on either strategy. So we've got 3 minutes. What questions do you guys have?
I have one question real quick, Fred.
Nothing
I got a question.
at all. Can you hear me?
Hey, Fred.
Fred, can you hear anybody?
I can hear you, Fred. Enosh is asking a question.
Can you guys hear me? Did I do something?
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you, Enosh.
Mike, can you hear me?
Everybody can hear each other.
Hey, Fred. I don't
Can
think
anyone
you
hear
can
me?
man.
Tell me. Enosh, can you hear me?
Oh my God.
Yell a little louder.
Hello?
I hear you guys.
I'll type my question.
Oh, I just can't. If you guys can hear me, I can't hear you. Hear you. Oh, I know why. I muted myself. That's funny. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Can you hear me, Fred?
Yep.
Okay. So we know the goal is to sell homes, right?
Mhm.
I heard Dale the other day. Chima, he mentioned that. Sorry, there's an echo. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, I don't know why.
That sometimes he'll list it a bit longer just to generate more leads. Like instead of selling it so quick in 1 week, sell it in like 2 weeks. Is that something you ever considered?
Well, I've heard of that. How are you going to determine if it's going to sell within 5 days or in 3 weeks? You have to price accordingly what's right. Number one goal is to sell the home. Number two, if it happens in a week or 2 or 3, that's fine. But even if you do it properly, with the way that we launch listings on Wednesday mornings, opening open houses on the first weekend, Saturday and Sunday, the amount of leads that we generate from sign from the open house, after the fact, we're fine. We do things a little bit differently than the normal agent to get more leads off signs, off calls, off online marketings, off our open houses, off circle prospecting, that 90% of agents don't even do.
Okay.
Good question, though.
Other question is a lot of times the CMA is not straightforward. Maybe another time you could give an example of how to do like a difficult one.
How to do what?
A CMA where there's not model matches and sparse inventory.
That's where you got to get creative on comps. Sometimes they're difficult. So you might have to go to the condo community next door that's nearby that has similar properties, gauge that. If it's detached homes, you got to look at a more broader area. It just depends.
Got it.
There are some that are tricky. At the end of the day, rule of thumb is that if a property is under 750, 500, you want to comfortably know what that home is worth within 25 grand before you walk in there, period. You got to have a gauge. You can't go in blind or you're screwed.
No, for sure.
So.
One last thing, Fred, was that I was just wondering, when I go into a house and assess the property as to what the value is based upon the upgrades. Mm-hmm. Is anyone there?
Go ahead.
Hello?
Robert,
could you give some tip in the future? Could you give some tips on that? What to look for in a home?
From what standpoint?
Gauging and adjusting, like at the list during the listing presentation, there's the walkthrough, right?
Right.
And there's certain things like 12 years, you know what to look for, but someone like myself, I go in there, and I think that's probably with the presentation I'm comfortable, but just assessing the actual value of the home, that's the part where I'm a little uncomfortable and not so confident. I'm wondering if there's some things.
It's honestly, with the comps that I have, it's going to be very difficult for them to tell me. Like if I walked into this home and I thought it was, worth 610 grand, they're going to find it they're going to find it very difficult. They can justify this home was worth 650 when I walk in there. If they have, unless they have literally put $200,000 in upgrades in that house, true hardwood flooring, stainless steel everywhere, bathrooms fixed up. I'm talking high end as high end you can get in a condo like this. That's the only way that I can justify 20 grand more, possibly. The other thing I look for is the condition overall. So what is a condition when I walk in? Are we selling the home as is? Are they planning on already putting 10 grand in the home that I didn't know about to fix certain things they have to fix? Is the location not what I thought it was? Is it right next to a street? Is the yard smaller? Just basic things. And that's why it's so important that when you guys are at least showing the buyers that you're showing, you got to comp these properties when you're writing offers. As you show more homes, as you write more offers for buyers, as you do more deals, as you go on more listing presentations, you just will naturally get better at understanding values of homes. Just what it is. So you got to go on more basically. But I'd look at condition, I'd look at location, and that's pretty much it. But the numbers are the numbers. That's why if you know within 25 grand what a property is worth, when you go in there, the price is not going to be that much different. Maybe 10, 15 grand up or down. But when you're comping a home, if you already know it's going to back a major street, you're already going to know it because you're comping the home and you're looking at it on Google Maps. Like you want to know if it backs a major street or not. You get an idea when you comp it, right? So you'll know some of the big deals before you walk in there. Inside though, it's going to be more of an intuition thing, expertise thing as you get going. Got to just get more at bats. That's it.
Got it.
Anything else? So we are recording this, which is cool. So we'll probably use this on how to properly comp a condo as well as far as the presentation. So it's a good video, but we'll save it. Have an awesome week or weekend, and then we'll go from there. Bye, guys.